Okay, so I'm going to talk about this time, I'm going to talk about the marvelous adventures of Captain Spirit or whatever that freaking game is called, and the first episode of Life is Strange 2. So, let's start with the marvelous adventures of whatever, and that's apparently like a kind of tie-in to Life is Strange 2. At least at the end of the episode, you see the characters. I don't really know how it ties in. I guess maybe in later episodes you'll see the kid again. That was fairly short. There wasn't really much to say. It's about this kid. And by the way, I think this was a better way of showing kids being cute or whatever, kids being kids. Because this guy's actually a kid, he's like 9. So I think he's like 9 or something. So it's like he's actually the age where a kid would be doing these, kind of stupid imaginary scenarios and acting like he's a superhero and blah, 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 blah. And Before the Storm and Life is Strange 1, these kids, they're like 13, 14. So it's not as cute. They're literally teenagers. And they're not even acting like teenagers. And then like, say for Before the Storm, like that bonus episode, when they're playing around, like there was nothing really special about it. Like, I know it's a bonus, it's a DLC, but Captain Spirit's a DLC, and that one was free. So there's no excuse. And the Before the Storm one, they like the bonus episode, they're playing around, but there was no it was realistic. Like when they saw the treasure, it was just treasure. Like when she saw the little glass thing, there was nothing like mystical about it. It was just like, oh, it's a glass thing in the attic. Meanwhile, with Captain Spirit, maybe it's because they used for Captain Spirit, they upgraded the engine and they did it for the other one. But, there's like these cutscenes and these freaking it looks like he's in a new universe or a new galaxy or new planet or whatever. And, they're like when he's looking through this maze thing, the maze looks all dark and mysterious and like in the imagination of a kid kind of thing. Like how the kid's imagining, when in reality, it's just a stupid little like boxes and stuff like that, or he's just in the car or whatever. He's still outside. So I did like that. I liked how they really updated the graphics. Like that was noticeable how upgraded the graphics looked, and like how big, like the house was bigger. Even like they added this little thing where now you can talk to people like while you're walking, like you press the bumper and then you can reply if you want to, which is kind of cool. Like it's just a nice little ad. It's nothing really much. So let's talk about the story now. So it turns out the kid, like, it's kind of alluded and then it becomes real that his father's an abusive father. He's a drunk, abusive father, because like I guess the wife got hit by a car, another hit by a car thing. But the wife got hit by a car, and I guess he lost the love of his life, and he's taking it out on the kid, basically. And and then he's not helping by getting drunk. So but it seems like he's still like the typical of the abusive father thing, blah 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 blah. Like it's the alcohol that's messing him up. Like in reality, like when he's not drinking that stuff, he's a good guy. But the moment that liquor touches his lips, he becomes a different person. And you notice that because, like, say you can explore his room, and it turns out the dad was going to give the kid the new console for Christmas, the thing that he's always been wanting, and where you're like, oh, that's sweet. But then there's like this kind of undertone, like even throughout the little episode. There's like that undertone of like, ooh, I better watch my tone around him. Or, ooh, like say, I didn't even want to go in front of the TV when he's watching basketball. Oh, that's another thing. He seems like he lost his job. Like he lost his dream of becoming a basketball player. Who knows why? But he lost his dream of becoming a basketball player. So he became a school coach. But then he lost that job because he was drinking on the job because, the wife died. So then he got fired and now he works on the rail yard. So he's, super pissed, and he feels like he lost his the dream that he had, or like the skill that he had, is gone. So he's kind of regretful of life and he hates everything. But he still watches and he's still pissed off by other players because he's like, that should be me kind of thing when he's watching basketball. So I was like, let me not even get in front of that TV, because I know they want you to go in front of the TV. But I was like, I'm not even going to do that cutscene, because just in case that cutscene gets crazy, No, I already know the signs of this kind of like what they're trying to do. So I'm like, nope. I'm just gonna play outside or whatever, or keep walking around. So you had to do a couple of things. So you're basically kind of taking care of the house yourself, which is kind of crazy, but typical, like, I guess, because the guy's just a bad father kind of thing. So he like you're doing the laundry, you're like fixing the heater, the water heater, you're cleaning the steps and stuff like that. So that's one of your like basically this whole episode you're just trying to do certain activities, like finish this list of activities. So it's like 6 activities: fix the water heater, do the laundry. There's something else, clean up the cans and stuff like that, and then like play around with them because you want practice your sharpshooting or your snowball throwing. Then there's one where you wanted to get your firecrackers or whatever and destroy the snowman and stuff like that, and you wanted to get the car keys, but the car keys was in front of the TV or near the TV, so you had to pass the TV, so you had to wait for him to go to sleep, which is crazy because the father at first, the typical like, the father at first said, hey, just wake me up and I'll take you to some place, because the kid wanted to go to some place or whatever. And then you knew that wasn't going to happen because then he got drunk or whatever, and you already knew what's going to happen at the end, like when you try waking him up. But first you had to do all these activities. So my only qualm with that short little episode, because everything else was pretty cool, like very, oh yeah, there was one thing when you're looking around the dad's room, because that's another way how you learn about this other stuff. Like you learn that he's kind of hiring prostitutes or whatever to get over the pain or whatever. But you see there's cigarettes. And I was like, oh, cigarettes. Oh, you could pick one up. And I'm thinking like, oh, the kid's going to use this cigarette to like, I don't know, for one of his little imaginary things. Like, oh, put it on the snowman or something to symbolize the snowman's a bad guy or something. Because even he said, oh, heroes don't smoke or whatever. But then you end up smoking the cigarette. Like you go into the treehouse and you end up smoking it. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect this. Oh, this is not what I thought was going to happen. Oh, so now you got a 9-year-old kid smoking cigarettes. I'm like, dang. And I mean, it was not brought up. Like it made like a little saving thing. Maybe it's good, but I doubt it. But who knows? Maybe it'll show up in Life is Strange 2, and now the kid's smoking cigarettes if you see him again. But yeah, I did not expect that. But there was only 2 qualms I had with this game. And it's these 2 activities, which is one, you had to go into the garage to get your firecracker, but it has a code on it. And you had to get into your dad's phone to play the game, to play like some stupid Flappy Bird clone. And that also had a code in it. And there was nothing anywhere for you to figure out how to do this code. Nothing. I had to look online. And for the phone, like the answer was hot dog in the ASCII of the numbers or whatever, or the numbers like, how 4 might be EFGH or something. But you had to do that. Where I'm like, how could anyone have found that out unless they just tried a billion different things? And then I went to look up, like, okay, this is a stupid idea. Who thought of this? And, everyone's complaining online about it, or the people who at least are commenting are complaining, like, oh, I could have never found this. So, like, how did you blah, 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 blah? Because, like, the only subtle hint that the answer was going to be hot dog was that a hot dog was on the phone, like, on the phone as the activity. It had a hot dog coming out. But the game is the hot dog man game. Why would the dad have his phone password be hot dog? You would think that it's going to be like something related to the wife or related to birthdays or whatever. Nope, it's hot dog. And I saw that one of the developers commented on Steam to one of the complaints. And he was like, oh, we wanted to add a sense of community, have all the community working together to solve this. Well, I'm like, what? Why? What kind of dumb idea is that? To have everyone trying to like brute force a password? How is that fun? How does that add to the community? Like that's the stupidest force like to try to add like engagement I've ever heard. And then what's worse, it's not like a thing where everyone's working together like for fun. Like say one of those, that old game where you had to tap on the screen a bunch and the number would go down from 1 billion. So now everyone's tapping. Or like say how Reddit in the past had that place where everyone's working together to add pixels to draw their subreddit icon or whatever. That's a community engagement thing, not brute forcing a password where no one knows, where there's no hint, everyone's doing everything, and then you have to just look online for the one guy who got lucky or, I don't know, looked in the code or something. That's not fun. Nothing's fun about that. That's so stupid. Like, I don't know, what the heck is up with these developers? Like you could tell that was a board meeting idea. If that was really the idea, you could tell that was a board meeting idea where the manager's like, hey, games nowadays, they need community. Our gamers are requesting community features, but we're a single player game. How can we add a community feature? And then another like assistant manager or whatever, or lower down supervisor. What about the phone password? The phone password. We could just like everyone could work together to think of a password, everyone's commenting. Think about it. Like everyone's commenting and everyone's like trying to figure it out. And everyone's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, tell your developers to do that. Where it sounds, I mean, even sounds stupid, but like, okay, maybe in their French minds, it sounded good. And then it turns out reality's different. The actual gamers, they don't like, if you're playing a single player game, you talk about the story, like say what I'm doing with this podcast. You talk about the story. You don't talk about the passwords. What could the password be? Come on, everyone, let's work together for this. No one does that. No one on the internet does that. Like, dude, people even use these internet forums. That's not how forums work. People talk about other things, not passwords. Especially not ones where usually, like say in the other games, the password was related to like birthdays or like something like kind of slightly obvious with the character, like with the character's personality. Nothing in this whole game told you anything about the father being a lover of hot dogs or something. Like maybe they could have added a quote or something to like, oh man, I love hot dogs, by the way, or something. I don't know. Like, the kid likes hot dogs. The kid likes the hot dog man. So it makes sense for the kid's phone to have hot dog man as the password, not the dad. The other thing is a similar thing. You had to go into the freaking garage and see the password to this locker where the dad was hiding the little firecrackers. And the password for that, or the 4-digit code, was 2005. Where it's like, at least that one slightly had a hint. Like I think he had like a jersey that said 2005 or something like that, or like that was when he was playing basketball. But even that is stupid. Like, just because it's a free game doesn't mean you have to force players to have more hours than needed. Where they're like, oh, well, if it's free, we got to make sure that each gamer has at least 12 hours. So really hide those passwords, so they could be looking for 4 hours. Because that's fun. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fun. Like, when I'm playing a game, that definitely won't make me hate the game or the developer or the next game that comes out. Where I'm like, I just wasted 3 hours trying to look up this stuff and I can't find it. So then I have to look online, and luckily I'm playing it late. Imagine if I played it day one, where I'm just looking for 3 hours to spend time, and then I'm wasting all these hours trying to find a password just so I can finish a free game that's like a lead up to the next game. Crazy. Insanity. But anyway, luckily internet exists, and luckily I'm playing the game late. So after I finished all the scenarios or whatever, I went back inside because I got to wake up the dad because, he said, wake me up so then we can go somewhere. Lo and behold, he's drunk. He's so drunk, he can't even stand up. He falls down, hits his head. So now he's pissed at the kid. And you're like, what the heck? Like, you told me to do this. So then it turns out the neighbor, being Snoopy, she comes over because ironically, the kid said multiple times that he doesn't want to leave his dad, which makes sense. That's the only parent he has left, and he doesn't want to leave because the grandparents said that they could take the child off his hands, but of course he didn't want to, or the kid didn't want to. He said he wanted to stay with his dad. So now the Snoopy freaking what do you call it? The nosy neighbor comes over and it's like, hey, I heard a ruckus. I don't know how you could hear that. Him falling down through house walls. Like, huh? How thin are these walls and how close was that lady? Or unless she just has like one of those freaking like noise amplifiers directly at the house just in case something happens. And then she ran right over. Because she's like, oh, I noticed you sweep the depths, which I did. And I noticed you're doing a lot of stuff. And he's like, and then I had to lie. Because I'm like, oh, the kid doesn't want to leave his dad. And this person's obviously trying to call child protection services. Like, it's obvious the moment she stepped over. I don't know if I could just predict the stuff. Or maybe the stuff is just obvious, but it's obvious she's worrying about the kid because the dad is an obvious like abusive drunk. So you're like, okay, or at least I'm like, okay, let me lie. So I make a couple lies like, oh no, I'm just my dad is doing something, I'm just cleaning or whatever. And then she's like, oh, what was that noise? And I'm like, what did I say? Like I said, like he stubbed his toe or something. I forgot what it was. So she's already suspicious. She already knows you're lying. And then you say, like, basically, I don't know if there's any way to make her not suspicious, but basically, she she goes away. She's like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna call someone, because she's suspicious, and even the kid's looking suspicious because he's so scared. And she goes away to call, and then the dad's pissed again. He's like, oh, so you say you do everything wrong. He's like, were you not listening? Like, he obviously was trying to lie for you. So like, why are you getting pissed? But he's still pissed. Oh. And then he says, oh, he starts bringing up stuff about the mother and says like, oh, he's the reason why she died because he like I'm assuming the kid requested something and that's why she started driving to go, like, let's just say she went to drive to the store because the kid requested milk or something. And then she got hit by the car, the hit and run or whatever that killed her. So the dad is blaming him. Like, oh, if you never asked for that milk, you'd be alive today. So then, of course, the kid's like completely tarnished by that. It's like, how could you say that, that you don't want me alive? So then he runs away and dad's like, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to say that. Because now he's feeling like regret. But the kid's already like, but you did say that though. So then the kid's runs up his treehouse. And then when he's running up the treehouse, he freaking like the freaking wood breaks off and then he falls. And then he's about to hit the ground. So you're thinking like, okay, I guess he's just going to die, even though there's fresh snow, like let's just say around two inches of snow, maybe. Like, yeah, it's still going to hurt, but a kid's not going to die from falling 5 feet unless he fell directly like on his head. It snapped his neck. But the way he was falling backwards. So, no, it didn't seem like he was going to die from that. But, they made it seem like he's going to die. He went all in slow motion. And then he stops right at the freaking, like, let's just say 3 inches from the ground. He stops with this freaking dust or whatever. And you're like, oh, what happened? Does the kid have powers? You don't know. But you see the people from Life is Strange 2, they're in the backyard of that lady. And then, like, they wave. And then that's the end. They say, oh, get ready for the Life is Strange or the next adventures or whatever in Life is Strange 2. So, I mean, beyond, like, other than that stupid password thing, I still think that was the dumbest freaking idea ever. It was an interesting little tiny episode, and I liked the little changes they made. The story wasn't annoying. It wasn't, like, boring, even though it was like say how Before the Storm was. It was a realistic story, not much drama, but at least they added to it. Like, yeah, the kid's playing around as a kid, but they say they add little cinematics or they added like, what the kid is imagining. We're like, whoa, this is cool. And then it's not too long. So it's like, okay, that's cool. I liked it. Other than that stupid password thing, I think that was a major demerit. But anyway, now Life is Strange 1. It starts with that amazing song. I forgot what they're called, what the band is called, but I like that band. I mean, they're typical like mid 2000s, whatever band. They're the ones who made, I don't even remember that. It doesn't even matter, but it's a sentimental, yeah. So I'm like, dang, they're starting off strong with with another band I like. Nice. And then you're talking to this like one girl, and because you're like in high school, of course, it's got to be high school when it's Life is Strange. You can't have college students. Always got to be high school. So you're talking to this one girl, which is, I mean, I know other people, like I can already see the comments are going to go, oh, you just never had that type of friendship before. Oh, yeah. But I still think it's a little off. Like this dude has this super close, like they are best friends forever close friendship with this girl. And it's like this Asian girl or whatever. And I guess they're just best friends forever. Where I'm like, unless they're building up to something where it's like, they probably are, being like, she liked you this whole time, but you just never noticed. Oh, yeah, that typical cliche where it's just like, I never really wanted you to go out with that one girl, but because I liked you, but I just couldn't express myself. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of unrealistic in that regard, having this freaking best friend. Like, it's different from having like a friend and then a best friend forever friend. Like, they've been friends for years. So they have like, I don't know, it's just off to me personally. But everything seems chill. He's apparently he has eyes for this one girl, and the best friend forever is helping him with that. And he like, it's a Friday, so they're preparing for the party. And he has to bring beer, money. It was 4 things. What was it? Beer, money, snacks, condoms, and something else. I forgot what that other thing was, but it doesn't matter. So you're in the house. You see like the relationship with the dad. The dad's like this super cool, laid back dad. He lets his kid get away with anything, like do basically anything. You know, doesn't matter for him. He's super, super laid back. And then, his cute little brother who is 9, he's like, just a typical young kid. So what was I gonna say? It starts with, the dad's like fighting over like this last Choco Pico or whatever, some chocolate candy, and you can choose who gets it. And I'm like, I'm gonna get it because that's the typical older brother thing, to not even answer the question and just take it for yourself because you're hungry. So then, just as a troll. So then, of course, the kid gets mad, or your brother gets mad and runs inside his room, and then your dad goes into like to fix the car because he's like a car mechanic, and ends up he's doing very well for himself. Like he's doing everything he wants to do. He always wanted to own this mechanic shop, and he always wanted to fix cars, and that's what he got. So I'm playing this game so far. I'm like, oh, everything's like like that's not that big of a deal, to be honest, like with the girl thing. But I'm like, oh, everything seems cool. Like the characters, I like all of them. They all seem pretty cool. They all seem pretty normal and pretty cool and good voice acting and everything. Oh, I forgot to mention that in the beginning of the game, like the very opening scene is like this police car getting destroyed or whatever. Like the guy's like, oh, we have a 10-4, 10-4. And then he goes off of screen because it's a cop cam, and then you see like this huge blast and it flips over the car, and the cop is there dead. So I'm like, ooh, this game's about to get intense. Whoa. Can't wait to figure out what happened there. So anyway, back to what I was doing. So you have to now get all the supplies. So, you get the beer. Well, you have choices. You can either get beer or soda. So I'm like, let me not be like, I already know apparently the dad's okay with it anyway. So I'm like, let me not be a lame and get the soda. Let me get the beer. Oh, let me ask the dad for the money. And the dad's like, you're going to use this for weed and partying and alcohol. I was like, yeah, I guess, yeah. Because I'm like, I already know that he's super laid back from how he seemed before. And then if you can look through the text, and you can see like their relationship. Like the dad already caught him with stuff before. So I was like, might as well just tell the truth, because apparently he already knows this guy's like a pothead or whatever. And the dad's like, you know what? I'm glad that you told the truth. Here, have $40 instead of the amount I was going to give you. And what was it? What are you gonna say? He's like, oh, I used to party like you too in my youth. Blah 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 blah. So then you get the snacks, and the snacks, you can choose between cookies or chips. The obvious choice is usually chips. But I was like, I'm feeling cookies right now, so I'm going to pick cookies. So I pick cookies. And then you can go to the bathroom. You can practice your attempting of flirting with the one girl. And of course, he's bad because he's nervous. Da, 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 da. You talk to the brother. The brother's like, don't come in. I'm fixing something. I don't want you to see. So then after you get all the supplies, I'm still trying to think of what else you had to get. Doesn't really matter in the end. Doesn't really matter. Oh, you can also steal from the tip jar or whatever. And I was like, let me not steal from this. What the heck? But you could also add money to it. And I was like, why would I add money to it if that gave me this money for me to spend? So I'm not going to put money in there. So I just kept the $40, but I didn't steal from it, of course, because like, what the heck? So then after you get all the supplies, you go on the Skype. I don't know why they specifically said Skype. And they did another reference to like a real life. Oh yeah, they did Minecraft references. I'm like, are you allowed to talk about Minecraft like that? Like, can you say real life movies and games? I don't know. But they keep referencing Minecraft, I guess because the kid's so little and typical kid playing Minecraft kind of thing. So then you go on Skype and you talk to the one girl, your best friend forever, but not dating or in no sexual tension. So then you talk to her, and then like while you're talking to her, it's just rambling. But it's cool that you can now mess with stuff while you're talking, which is kind of cool. I mean, the only thing I don't like about that kind of thing is that I think it's like an OCD kind of thing for me. Like where I want to interact with everything. I want to read everything. I want to see everything. I want to hear him respond to every single thing you can interact with. And I hate when there's a time limit to that, because that means sometimes it's impossible to see everything. So that means you miss out. And I'm not going to replay. I know some people are like, oh, I got to replay. Not me. I'm not going to replay it. So then I just miss out on these other things. Like even if it might be not even that important, but it's just a fact I'm missing out that pisses me off. But anyway, while you're talking on Skype, the brother comes in. It turns out he was working on a Halloween costume, and he has like a zombie thing with some fake blood. He's like, oh, I made fake blood using blah 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 blah. And of course, the brother is just being mean. He's just like, no, just get out. You're so annoying. Like, he crashes out for no reason. Like, I get that they're trying to show like the growth of their brotherly friend love or whatever, but that was kind of, I mean, but then again, that is kind of realistic, I guess. Like, sometimes you're just annoyed. You don't want him coming, your sibling coming in your room and talking when you're busy with something, or when you're talking to someone where it's kind of embarrassing or whatever. So I guess it's not that big of a deal anyway. So while you're talking, though, for some reason, the younger brother goes outside with his costume. And then when he goes outside, you hear all this fighting because there's this like next door neighbor who's a kind of a douchebag. They kind of show him being a douchebag. This is when the story gets weird. Like, this whole part, I think, was done terribly. That's the only part so far where it's like that I didn't get, or like it seemed rushed and it didn't really fit. Like, they didn't really explain much. Like, it seemed like it just came out of nowhere. So when you're hearing the fighting, you see that it's the one dude. You're like, oh, that's that one dude. He's messing with my brother. So that makes sense. You're like, no, like, I can be mean to him, but no one else can be mean to him. So you run outside, tell the Skype, like, I gotta go. You run outside and you say, hey, what's going on? And the dude is like, hey, your brother, he splattered blood on me with his fake blood. He stained my shirt. Screw that kid. He's about to punch the kid or whatever. Which is, I mean, not punching the kid is okay, but I can understand being mad about, your shirt being stained with red blood. Like, that's, that shirt is done now. So I can understand being mad. But again, he might just be mentally insane. Some people do hit kids. So I don't know. What the heck is that? It's just a leaf, I think. A weirdly shaped leaf. It could be a bug, but it didn't move when I hit the screen. Strange. But so he's getting pissed, and you can choose to either like accuse your brother for being like, oh, why would you do this? You need to stop playing around, or you can, fight the dude. And I'm like, I'm going to fight the dude. What the heck is this dude messing with my brother? Not on my watch. So I push him. He pushes me back, and then I punch him, and he just dies. He literally just dies. He falls on the ground. I'm like, what? Like, even before what happens next, I'm like, what? How did he just drop dead from one little punch? And it wasn't like a hard punch. He just, like, he's acting like he has like some type of like, I don't know. That's crazy. Like, it does happen in real life. Like, you never know. Like, say Houdini. Houdini died from one punch. I mean, it was a gut punch out of nowhere, but he still died from one punch. Even though he's supposed to be the iron abs dude. But this guy, he just, like, in a game though, like in a story, it doesn't make sense because you're expecting the average scenario, like for stuff like that, I guess. Like, you're not expecting when there's a fight and you do one little punch, the guy dies. So he dies. Well, maybe he's just passed out, but still he's like, no, he seems like he died because the person put the pulse on him. So he dies from one punch. And then the police officer just happens to be driving. And then what he sees from his perspective is a dead dude with blood all over him, because remember, the shirt is stained. So he sees blood all over him and a dead dude. And like, I guess, like, because they're trying to make it kind of political, which is, I have no issue with it. Like, I know some people will be, don't bring politics into the game. Oh, but most stories have politics in it. Like, there's a innuendo of some type of politics. Like, you can say the same about cyberpunk. Cyberpunk games are talking about capitalism. Like, that's a crazy thing, but they're talking about capitalism. Maybe people who, I don't know, but that is like, oh, who would have known? Or like, let's just say the Matrix is about control or whatever. Like, I don't know, but like every game, every story has some form of some type of political talk a lot of the time. Not every time, but a lot of the time is about human nature. Like, it's hard to make a story that's not about talking about human nature. It's hard to talk about human nature without talking about like current times or past time politics or whatever. Like, lo and behold, if you make a story in the 1600s or 1400s, 1500s, slavery is going to be talked about. I know. Whoa, whoa. How, I can't believe they're bringing politics to the game. It's almost like when you make a story about a certain time, you talk about things that happened in a certain time. And during that time, yeah, I know Trump was elected in the first time, and many conservative people really disliked the Mexicans hopping the border. So that's, so they decided to make a story about that, or at least have that as a background addition to the story or whatever. But anyway, the police sees two Hispanics with a dead white guy. So he's already suspicious. He's like, hey, put your hands up, put your hands up. He has his gun out, put your hands up, put your hands up. And, they're all freaking out, which I guess makes sense because they're in shock. And I guess they're also in shock that the guy's dead because the police officer tested his pulse and he didn't feel anything, or at least he didn't like acknowledge that he felt something. So he has the gun up, and then the dad comes up. He's like, "Hey, what's happening? What's happening?" He's like, "Put your hands up! Put your hands up!" And then he just shoots. He just shoots the dad, which again, that does happen. That does happen. There's a lot of examples of that happening where the police officer would just shoot out of nowhere. But the issue is with the story, when that happens, the little kid, he's like, "Ah, no!" And I think they could have done more with that scream, to be honest. Like, his scream was not screamy enough. I don't know. If I was the director, I'd be like, you need to have some, like, your voice needs to go hoarse. Like, you're screaming. You just saw your dad get shot. You need to, like, have, like, not just, no, like, not fake. It needs to be, like, an actual, like, you're forcing all the air out your mouth because you're just so emotionally distraught. You have to scream. And then the explosion happens. But, it's just like, no, stop, I can't. Like, I forgot what he said, but it just sounded bad. But then the explosion happens and like some freaking shockwave or whatever. And then this is where it gets weird. He's passed out. Everyone's passed out. I guess the cop's dead. The other dude's, I guess, dead. Their dad's dead. And the older brother, he wakes up and he sees like the destruction of this mysterious explosion kind of thing. Or I'm not sure if he already knew about this or not, because it seems like he's not reacting to his brother using his powers as strongly as you would have thought he should. If like all of a sudden your sibling is like freaking exploding stuff and like doing shockwaves and levitating stuff. So I don't know if they already knew if this is some type of thing, like, and then like, their mother's missing, and I don't know. But anyway, when he wakes up and sees this, he just instantly goes into locked in mode, picks up his brother, and runs. And they run away from the city, from Seattle or whatever. And then the scene cuts. And then now you're on the road, you're on the highway, walking away from Seattle, trying to escape. Like, my issue with that is that it seemed so quick. Like, I wanted to see some type of reaction to it, like his thought process of why he should run. Like, maybe he sees the newspaper, like he goes back inside and he's scared, or like he, something. I don't know. And then he sees the newspaper, he sees that there's a manhunt for him, and that's why he decides to run, because he knows that he's going to be, taken away from his brother, or he's going to be going to juvie, or I don't know. But he just did it in the moment, instantly, where I'm like, I don't know, like, especially someone that young, it just seemed kind of off. But that's the only kind of thing I didn't like. And that was very in the beginning of the game. Like, that's the opening scene. But maybe that's why it's so notable, because it was the opening scene. Where, like, say in Life is Strange 1, there was like a lead up to the power, and like you see Chloe get shot, and that's what started it. Like, where it seemed out of nowhere, it happened out of nowhere, but like you hear her thought process and like what she's going to do next and all that. Like, there's like a lead up to like the adventure. But this one, it just goes from 0 to 100 to the adventure without a lead up. I think that's my issue. But anyway, so now they're on the road. They're just camping outside. Like, the first day, it's been 2 days since the event. So you do see through context afterwards that, like, the police are looking for them, and they believe that they killed them or whatever. Of course, no one's going to believe. Like, I mean, you would think that they would have, they'd be able to test that, hey, that one kid he still died, but there's fake blood. So he didn't die from being like slashed or whatever. And then maybe they could tell, like, oh, he died from blunt trauma. I mean, it would still be bad, but But anyway, so they're on the road. They do some type of like camping, because now you're trying to look for another camping spot, because they've been camping for the past 2 days. So you're trying to look for a camping spot. You find one. Like, throughout this, like, while you're trying to find a camping spot, you kind of see the relationship between the brother and the younger brother. And it's like little cute things because the brother, like, just being a little kid kind of thing, like not really taking in the full situation. Because, of course, typical, the older brother doesn't want to tell the kid what happened because he's not ready. Kids are just never ready to hear real stuff. Yeah, they're just not ready. So he didn't want to tell them. And then you find a camping spot. You have a little nice little like talks and little things with your brother, which again, I think that's cool. One thing that's cool, like, of course, that's one of the, I guess, the additions to Life is Strange 2, is that you have your brother walking around too and like pointing out stuff or commenting on stuff, or you could discuss it with him. And I guess he will react to the things you tell him because, like, for example, I stole a Choco Pico or whatever from a car because there's like an abandoned car. So I was like, oh, let me just take the candy because the window's down. It's just a candy. But then it turned out that now the kid steals because I stole two little things. Because he's like, oh, you stole two. Which I guess true. But I think that's cool having because with Max, Chloe wasn't really walking with you kind of thing. She would like be doing her own thing and then you explore while she does her own thing. Like say she's setting up the cans while you explore the whole entire scrapyard. Or she's typing on the computer or something, like when you explore the whole, like, whatever, we explore the dark room while you're investigating everything. But this one, there's he's investigating with you, or he's reacting with you, or you can choose to discuss stuff with him that will affect his personality or his future, which is cool. So then you find the little resting spot, you camp, and then, like, of course, wake up. I mean, there's, like, an allusion to, like, bears, but a bear never showed up. So I was like, I thought, I don't know, I'm not disappointed, but I was just like on edge thinking like, okay, a bear's going to show up. I see things that say like, oh, if you see a bear, you got to fight back. You aren't supposed to run away. So I'm like trying to keep this in lock in my memory. Be like, okay, if there's a bear scene, I got to fight it because if I don't, it's just going to wreck me or something. But anyway, of course, the bear never comes. So then you're like, when you wake up, you go and you go walk a little bit more because you're trying to go south to go to Mexico. You're trying to hop the border to go to whatever it's called. The hometown of your dad, basically. So you're going south and you end up going to like a little gas station. So you get supplies, you get some food and stuff. Luckily, I had that $40. So I'm like, okay, let me spend my $40. So I see a family outside. They're all douchebags for some reason, except for the mom. But the daughter and the dad in this gas station, like they're outside eating. They're douchebags for no reason. Like, I'm like, what the heck is your issue? I'm like, let me stop talking to you guys. You guys are douchebags. So I clean the brother and everyone up in the bathroom. I explore the outside. I see like little bears or whatever. Like, seems like a nice little casual gas station. So I go inside. I order my stuff because I'm like, I have enough money. So I don't need to steal anything yet. Like I haven't got to that desperation. Like, cause you can look in the trash for food. I was like, we're not at that level yet. Or you can ask the douchebag parents for food. We're not at that level. I have $40. I can spend frugally. So I go into the gas station. I get some Choco Pico, whatever it's called, that candy for the brother, just to, just a little reward for what's happening. And then I get some bread. I get some water. Even though the soda was cheaper, I'm like, we're drinking water because water will keep you hydrated longer. Said this freaking soda, and we're going to be walking for a while. And then there was something else I got. Oh, I got 2 hot dogs. I'm like, we don't need to eat the bread now. Let's have some hot dogs, And I ended up having like around, let's just say I had like $19 left. So I'm like, okay, this is pretty okay, so far. And then what was I going to say? Oh yeah, there's like a dog that they're trying to give away for free, but they didn't want to give it to kids. And, the big brother didn't want the dog anyway. But I already knew that we're going to get the dog somehow. Somehow the dog's going to come into our possession. But anyway, because why would they point that out? But anyway, I order everything legally, get my money. I have the money and everything. And I didn't steal, blah, 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 blah. So then I leave out. And I'm like, okay, we're ready to go. Like, we first eat some hot dogs at the bench or whatever. And while we're eating, this random dude comes up. And he's like asking some weird questions. And I'm like, crap, please don't have this happen. And he's asking stuff and he's like, oh, did you steal that? I'm like, no, I literally bought it with my money. And I'm like, I'm expecting him to go, okay, let's go into the gas station and let me prove it myself.
We can go right now. But the older brother keeps like being weird about it. Where I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I wanted. Like, he's like, no, we didn't steal it. We didn't steal it. No, no. Like, where I'm like, this is easily provable. We have the cashier right there. You can make this guy look like a maniac. Go inside and tell them, hey, here's the, did I buy this stuff or not? And when she says, oh yeah, you were here literally 5 minutes ago, then we can go on our way and run away from this crazy dude. But no, the brother being all weird, and then I think the younger brother said something. So then the dude was going to touch or take the younger brother. So then you try to do something. You try to hit him or something, but then the guy like basically just knocks you out one hit. So you pass out, and then now you're in like some freaking creepy like back room of the gas station, and it turns out that dude is like, typical, like he's racist or whatever. He's like, oh, these Mexicans coming over and this. And I already saw the news. I know you're the kids that they're looking for. Who are they gonna believe? And then you're like, you literally hit me. You're domestic abuse or whatever it's called. You assaulted me. And he's like, oh, who are they gonna believe, me or you? And then he leaves out because he still has to look for the little brother. The little brother escapes somehow, and he calls the police, and then he shackles you to the bar or whatever. So then you're like, oh crap, I'm stuck here. Nothing you can really do. And then it turns out your brother came back. He escaped and then came back. He somehow knew exactly where you were. And he came back and he's like, hey, I'm here. And you're like, okay. So then you have to guide him. You have to do certain things to like guide him to help you escape, like giving you the screwdriver and opening the door and crap like that. So when you finally escape, like, you'll unhandcuff yourself. You're about to leave, and then turns out the dude comes in just in time. So, I'm going to get you. And then you basically knock him out again. Like now you have the strength to knock him out, I guess. So you knock him out, and then I decided I'm going to steal something. So I'm like, you're already screwed me over. You assaulted me, and we're hungry and whatever. So I steal the tent. I'm like, we're going to need this tent. I don't care what happens. I'm still in this tent because we're going to need it. So especially if we're we're going to be living out in the forest kind of thing, and there's bears or something. So I take the tent, and then apparently he took like a little hoodie, a cute little raccoon hoodie for the brother. So you steal those, and then you both run out. And while you're running out, you see the car. Oh, there's this dude in the gas station who was like a journalist, but he was doing journalist for like pornography. It was kind of off-putting, but I was like, I'm already a fugitive. I'm not going to anger this dude. And even in real life, like I'm not going to, if I see some crazy dude doing something, if you listen to my other podcast, you don't, but in my other podcast, Crazy Stories in Hong Kong kind of thing. And, sometimes I'll see crazy people. It's best to not agitate them if they're doing crazy things. So you just kind of go with the flow. And in the game, I just went with the flow. But like, oh, well, not everyone's crazy. You make money. So I ended up, you see that guy's car. He's like parked kind of in the forest. So you knock on his door because he seems like a good guy anyway. He is. He's just doing journalism for weird stuff. So then you knock on the door, you're like, help. The guy assaulted me. He did this. Of course, and he instantly believes you. He lets you in, and then you drive away. So turns out while you're driving away, you keep hearing this barking like in the back seat where the little brother is, and the brother stole the dog. So you're like, oh, well, he stole the dog. Nothing you can really do about that. And then you're talking to the dude. He seems like he's getting like cooler and cooler as time goes on. He seems like a chill guy, and he's very nice. He's very generous and everything. And he drives you south for a little bit. And then while driving south, he's talking to you about stuff like while the brother's asleep, the little brother's asleep, he's saying like, hey, you should tell, because it turns out the dude knew what happened. He knew what happened with the news, but of course he doesn't believe it because and then you tell him the full story, and he's like, dang, what are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know what to do. What do you think I should do? And the dude kind of dodges the question. It's like, you should do what you think you should do. So, which means, okay, go to Mexico. So then it turns out this is the one Life is Strange 1 cameo. And I think that was stupid. That was the worst cameo you could possibly do. Like, you might as well not even show it. Where you while you're driving, you park. And it turns out you're parking at the overlook of Arcadia Bay. And you see it destroyed. And there's no mention of this. Like, there's no, like, no one's talking about it. You don't get any like what happened afterwards. It's just there. It's just a background. And you're like, I'm like waiting for them to say something, like reacting, like, dang, that's crazy. That whole town got destroyed by that one tornado, and all this stuff happened, all of it out of nowhere. That some crazy stuff, man. But no, they just don't even react. The only reaction you get is that, like, while he's crying, because he told him the story of like his dad dying, and he's finally like letting out his emotion. He's like, I feel like that town down there. I feel empty and destroyed. I'm like, what the heck? So that's the one little reference you get to Life is Strange, is the dude saying, I feel empty, just like that town. Like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. That's the only stupid like part, like writing so far, and the beginning part. But you already know I said what I said about that. So I'm like, okay, this is dumb. Let's just get out of here. So you keep driving. It turns out that dude, he gets you a motel and gives you some money and gives you a supply bag. You're like, dang, nice guy, nice guy. And he's like, someone helped me like this in the past, and it's like my way of, passing the torch kind of thing, of being generous and good, because I needed it. And then he said he has to go back anyway because his mother's in trouble, so he can't help you with this journey or whatever. Which, I mean, I almost wanted him to be like the third person in this journey, but that makes sense. Like, a random dude's not going to drive all the way to Mexico for you, kind of thing. But then he suggested you throw away the phone, which is, I mean, yeah, but what I'm wondering, I mean, I guess, I don't know. But what I'm also wondering is, like, I don't know when these next episodes, if they're still going to be fugitives, because I need to look this up. Like, if you broke a law, let's say, like them, you broke a law in Washington, you killed a cop, or at least they're suspicious that you killed a cop, and then you ran away. So now you're in Lower California. Let's say you're in San Diego. Are the police down there also going to be like, hey, that's that guy who killed that cop in Washington, and then they arrest you? Like, if you're just walking casually, like you're not starting anything, you don't get arrested, or you don't get like an ID search, like how would they know? Also, with the phone thing, like, I guess they can track you easily. So I guess that is true. They throw away the phone, like if it's really bad kind of thing, and just use a burner. But yeah, that was just the one thing. That's not an issue with the story. It's just a wonder of mine. And then, so he drives you to the hotel, or motel. So you go to the motel, and, you're chilling. You're like, okay, everything's kind of working out, like in a bad way, but it's working out. So you're in a nice hotel. You're making a bubble bath for your brother, and then you call your BFF, and you're all crying and sad because you're about to throw away the phone, and you're giving like a last call. And I'm like, okay, I'll just do a last call because chances are, even if they track the phone from that, like I'm gonna be miles away by the time they find that phone or whatever. So you do your little last goodbye. I'm still expecting, I mean, maybe this is just a toxic masculinity, whatever, but I'm still expecting her to be like, I still love you. I actually love you this whole time. Please come back. But no, she doesn't say anything. There's nothing. I guess they're just BFFs. Turns out. And then you throw away the phone after listening to this, like, or watching this video of like Christmas, which was kind of boring to listen to, because like, I don't know. It's just it's similar to like how the dad for Life is Strange 1 was for Chloe, where he's too perfect. Like, where it's like that dynamic was too perfect, where it's like it seems cartoonish now. So I was like, I'm cutting this off, I'm throwing it right now. I don't want to hear about him go, I'm playing around with you. I gave you a present that sucks. Actually, I gave you an amazing present. Oh, sorry, such a great father. Like, it's boring. Like, yeah, like it creates the impact of like losing that father in that story, but it's still not, it's kind of boring. So I throw away the phone. So then meanwhile, the brother was watching TV, and he already finished his bubble bath because, you made the bubble bath, you finished it, and he's watching TV. And he's like, hey, you want to play around? Let's play around. But then you're like, okay, I need to tell him something serious now, because like the guy suggested it, the guy who drove you. He like suggests that you tell the brother sooner or later. Like, you need to, the sooner you tell him, the better for the relationship. So I was like, okay, I'm going to tell him right now. And he's like dancing on the bed, having the time of his life. And you have the choice to dance with him or tell him. And I was like, why would I extend this any longer by doing a dance when I'm already kind of sad? Like, well, not me, but like him, he's already sad. So it's not like a real dance. He's not going to be dancing with happiness or whatever. So might as well just abruptly tell him what happened. So I'm like, hey, no, turn off the TV.
I want to tell you what happened. And the brother's like, no, I don't want to hear it now. I wanted some soda. Can you get me some soda? And I'm like, what the heck? Like, why don't you tell him what happens first, then get him the soda? Why all these delays? But he delays and goes to get the soda. So he goes to get the soda, and then you see the lights flickering. You see, like, you feel like shaking and everything. And it turns out, like, when you run back, the brother's like, why did you lie to me? And it turns out the TV, I guess, turned to the news, and the news is showing, like, the murder of the father and the police officer. So now the little brother knows that, you know, his dad dies. Like, you lied to me! So he's, like, you know, using his powers like creating, like, a cyclone inside the freaking hotel. You know, everything's flying around, and you're trying to say, like, I didn't want to tell you. I promise I won't lie to you ever again. Which you already know that's going to follow you now, because now there's going to be something well, if they're writing, like, in a cool way kind of thing, because I don't have any issue with that part. But if they're writing in a cool way, there's going to be something that you really probably need to lie to him about. But if you lie to him, you broke your promise, and he's going to be pissed and something. If it's an amazing game, it's going to be impactful, and it's going to be like a never return type thing, or like where you can't take it back. Like, you messed up if you lie to him. Or you could tell the truth, but the truth will also be a mess up, but you won't completely destroy your relationship with your brother. I doubt it's going to be that serious though. But yeah, there's going to be something where you have to tell the truth, or you feel like you need to lie, but you should tell the truth. But yeah, the episode ends on that, like, where you promise that you won't lie to him ever again. And then that's about it. I don't know if there's anything that happened afterwards. They seem like they got over the whole dad dying kind of thing pretty quickly, because it seems like the brother was more distraught that he was lied to by his older brother than about his dad dying. So yeah, that's about it. And then the little preview of after the episode ended, there's like a little preview, and it seems like they're trying to train the little brother to use his powers with some control. So yeah, that's about it. To be honest, I mean, but then again, that's the same thing happened but Before the Storm, where that first episode was okay. You know, I had no issue with it. I had no qualm. Like, there was that kind of insane escalation and then time skip that I didn't like. And then I didn't like how they referenced Life is Strange 1 in such a quick and boring and kind of laid back way. But other than that, I'm interested. You know, it's keeping me interested so far. Like, it's not as well. Life is Strange 1 was the same way, like, where the first episode wasn't super dramatic. It just got you in that world where you're like, oh, I have these powers, or there's this kind of illusion of something happening. And in this one, it's less of a mystery kind of story. It's more of a adventure with your brother story, which is typical. That's also the only other thing I wanted to bring up. It's just about stories in general. They always do sister dynamics. Like, you can say Chloe and Max, which was weird sister dynamics. Like, they should have just been sisters, to be honest. Instead of like making them, oh, we're just best friends forever. We're just really, 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 really close best friends. Where it's like, no, it would have been cooler to just have them sisters. Oh, yeah, and they're like, oh, we're really, 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 really best friends with some lesbian dynamics. It's like, no, they should have just been normal sisters. That would have made more sense. Make Max the younger sister. Make Chloe the older sister. It would have made more sense. But the thing I want to say is that it's always interesting that in these medias, they always make it either sister, brother, and that seems like about it. There's never it's mostly because of me where I'm saying this, because I'm an older brother to two sisters. You never see older brother, younger sisters, like, in a story, ever. It's always, like, if anything, if there's going to be a brother-sister thing, it's always an older sister and a younger brother, or it's going to be brother, sister. Where I'm like, what the heck? And it's always only two. What happened? Like, a lot of people have three siblings. It's not just like, you know, it's and then, like, not everyone's going, like, it would be kind of crazy if everyone had brother, or sister. Sometimes it's brother, sister, brother, sister, brother, sister, whatever, you know what I mean. So I'm like, it's not an issue, but I'm just noticing that it's always like that. Where I'm like, I don't know, maybe because, I don't know, what, like, is it just a coincidental thing where writers end up not having younger sisters? Is that just how it works? But I don't know. But that's about it. So far, interested. No issue. It's not like so far. You will know when I have issue, because it won't, like, even though I'm giving, like, certain comments, you will know. Because, like, say that last episode Before the Storm, there's no hiding. I did not like that story. This one, okay so far.